Well, and even though I license, there are a lot of things that I do that people probably don't know about, but there are a lot of other areas that I want to get into that you have expertise in. So even as like a more seasoned person, there's still a lot to learn from your course because your knowledge is so expansive.
Thank y'all. Well, I hope it helps. I mean, so far I don't know, I just share what I know and I love talking about it. And I don't know. Yeah.
I think that's great. I mean, that comes across, and you are very giving with your information. And I love that. I love that, like, you like on the course that I took, one of my big things that kind of holds me up when I'm, wanting to add a product is figuring out, like, who do I use as a manufacturer? Who do I go to? Like doing that research. And so I loved that you had a list that was like, here are the vendors that we use for like doing our stickers and doing tissue paper and doing washi tape. And, doesn't mean that's who you have to use, but it was like, but I already know you have experience with them. And so that tells me that, like, oh, that's a good one to start with in terms of, looking around. That gives them credibility to me. That takes a ton of time of research out of my schedule and helps me kind of, take the jump with a little more confidence rather than thinking like, I don't know, is this company okay to work with?
Well, yeah, that's the cool part about, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. This is my 13th year of running a creative business. And, I do a lot of different things. And I'm not advising everyone to do everything like I have tried over the years, but I will tell you that because of that, I have a lot of trial and error and experience and a vendor list that goes from here to there of people who we can count on to do good work for us. And that's what a lot of our students say too. They're like, oh my gosh, you just saved me hours and hours and hours of time and money, frankly, because when you order samples, like it can get really cost prohibitive, especially if you want to get into products. So I'm happy to offer that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you just said too, with saving money, yes, you give a ton of information through your free course. And I'm really excited to take your free course this year because I know you said you have a bunch of like really good new stuff in it. Really excited about that. But when I decided I wanted to do stuff with fabric design, I started taking classes at Otis College of Art and Design in Los Angeles in surface and textile design. And I was doing it without getting a certificate. And even then I was still paying like $600 for a weekend class, every single class I took. And then I took like 3 or 4 levels of a class with one teacher and 2 levels of a class with another. So like you start adding it up and thinking about like how much money and gas, going down, near the airport and everything that I spent on stuff. And when I do look at how much stuff you have in your course, I think, oh my gosh, this is like really, your modules are packed with information. It's really something. A personal thing about me is like, I really wanted to add embroidery designs to some of what I'm doing. And so you had, the extra bonus module that was all on like putting together your embroidery kits.
Yeah.
And I just watched that thing. I was like,
isn't it amazing?
Yeah. Loved that. Loved it. Like just so accessible. Loved that. My daughter actually has been working on doing samples for some of the embroidery designs for me. And then hopefully I'll be doing some of those as downloads. And, I'm working on getting things together for kits and things too, but it made it so much more accessible. Like I loved that.
Oh, thank you. To several of your points, I have an art degree and yet no one told me how to actually make money with it. Bummer. You took all these classes where you learn a bunch of stuff, but then you're like, and then what? And even if it's really good content, good classes, it costs a lot of money to go learn this stuff like at a university. And there's a place for learning at a university, absolutely. But what I wanted to create was a one-stop shop for the art business owner to be able to get literally, it's like your creative business toolkit, leverage your art, and you get lifetime access to your version of the course. So, wherever you're at in your business, you're going to be able to find the answer that you need. I'm hoping that's the goal. And then all the, you mentioned the embroidery kit bonus. We have so many new bonuses this year that are just amazing from, I brought in some industry experts and some pals, some friends who have areas of expertise that I don't. And I'm so excited because making this information accessible, it empowers so many people. And, sure, I imagine you could do what I did for 13 years, which is Google everything and make databases and spreadsheets. And it's a lot of work. I just want to save people a lot of time, frankly. So that's what this course is for.
Well, you mentioned two things there. I also did go to the University of Michigan School of Art for 5 years. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in graphic design and industrial design. So I had like that whole part of education first. Then going to Otis and stuff. So yeah, it was a lot of years going into that. And when I was at University of Michigan, my dog is dreaming and making weird little squeaking noises. You hear this whoop whoop in the background. So that's great. You just see her laying there. So they would say, we're training you to be art directors as opposed to like training you how to do a specific skill on the computer. Well, that's great and all, except for that you also need to know that specific skill on the computer. So like you need both of those things going together. And so that's where like you bring a lot of information together on stuff. And then I had another point and I just forgot what it was. It just went away.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. It'll come back to me. So I did have a couple questions for you. I'm just curious myself. How much time do you spend like staying up to date on the latest of like the software changes on the things that you work on? And if somebody were taking your class, would it matter if they didn't have like the latest version of something?
That's the good news. You can take my class and it's not program specific. That's what's wonderful about how I've created Leverage Your Art. There are a lot of great classes out there that do teach you specifically, here's how you use Adobe Illustrator, here's how you use Photoshop, here's InDesign. And those are great. And I too love those types of courses. But this is not a course to teach you how to use a program. This is a course to teach you how to take the art that you have and the art that you desire to make and turn it into art licensing portfolios and products that you want to sell. And it's more of a business course than anything. Although I do show you how to build things depending on the programs you have. So for instance, this year, let's talk about portfolios specifically, because every artist should work on their portfolio, whether you want to license or you're doing product development. We teach you how to build it in Adobe InDesign for one. We have free templates. I'm revealing a bonus. We have a bonus that's not on the sales page, everybody. And we're giving a portfolio template and a tear sheet template that you can use in InDesign. I also teach you how to build a portfolio online, not using any of those programs, drag and drop with good old Squarespace. And I even show just a simple PDF version of creating a portfolio. So my point is, I really try to come at it at all these different angles of accessibility. A lot of people have the Adobe Creative Suite. So yes, they might default to that. But what if you don't have that? And right now is not the time for you to invest in it. I'm going to show you how to make an inexpensive portfolio using Squarespace. And that's what I actually use for my online portfolio. So yes.
Well, and I love that you're doing that on the portfolio because I'm actually at that point of needing to do the online portfolio as well. It's time for me to like redo that. And so I'm really looking forward to learning, what you have to say about that. So I'm excited about that. I think the other thing that you had mentioned was about some of the things about running a business. Mm-hmm. And so when I got to all of your information about the business and also like when you are ready to hire, you had something written down which just like completely hit right at my heart. And it was about when to hire help and how you do all these things to try to like handle it yourself, to not have to bring someone into our own version of organized chaos. And I thought, as you can see, like that is exactly kind of that point I'm at too, of needing to expand and bring somebody in to help with that. And I think sometimes it's like I look at you and I see how you have also built up a staff and you are able to expand and, you know, expand out in different directions because you do have appropriate help. And it's a little bit scary to, you know, take that big leap. And so like from a personal level, I'm really excited about that part of also what you're sharing.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. And let me just preface this for anyone watching. If you're hearing this and you're like, oh my gosh, she talks about hiring, I'm nowhere near ready to hire. This course is over my head. No, 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 no. It is giving you future things that you'll need in the future when you grow your business. Because here's the trick. A lot of the people that you probably follow online, even if they look like they're a one-person operation, they're probably not. Like, people have help that you don't realize. And the first bit of help that I got was, I mean, I don't even talk about this very much. I briefly had an intern like in year 3. I was still working from home from my dining room table. And I had someone come into my house to help me organize calendars that I was hand printing at home. I was hand printing and hand cutting, and I needed someone to help me to package them. She was there for like 2 weeks, and I did not hire correctly, and I made a lot of mistakes and learned a lot. But what I realized by that is I was able to get out of my drudgery zone. The drudgery zone are the things that you have to do for your work, but you hate doing them. And I realized I don't like assembling things. First of all, I don't like it. And so I got some help pretty quickly, 3 years in, to help me assemble things. And people often are scared to hire because they're like, 1, I'm too small to hire. 2, if I'm hiring and I'm not making enough money yet, it's like taking money out of my own pocket to give to someone else. And that's very scary and vulnerable, especially if you're not at the tipping point yet of having a lot of profit. But you're going to make more money typically by getting help, because then you can do the good work that only you can do. That's going to help you to grow faster. And we're talking sometimes 5 hours a week. I know I'm going on, but I will just tell you this. I've had some alumni from Leverage Your Art who I'm still coaching now after Leverage. And several of them have taken the leap finally to get like a virtual assistant, like for like 5 hours a week. And we're talking like for licensing, for pitching, for all sorts of things where it's like, I just don't like doing this work and I keep dragging my feet. They've hired a virtual assistant. We're talking hardly any money up front. It's 5 hours a week, and it's revolutionizing their businesses. And I think when you feel like you're ready to hire, you should have hired like 6 months earlier. That's pretty much what I'm going to get at. Does that make sense?
At least a year earlier. Yeah, it does. I finally hired a virtual assistant this year. And so I have somebody that comes and helps with cutting fabric for making kits. I hired a virtual assistant. I have another person who works on making samples for me. My husband has taken over doing the distributor orders for the patterns. Like, I think once you start doing it, it becomes easier to like let some of those things go. But it's hard at the beginning. And even with that help, I feel like I need to still like take the next step. But yes, you cover basics even on doing like collections and those things, but it's very deep. Like, even if you're into the journey, there's a lot you're still going to get out of it. That's what I'm finding. Yeah.
I find that too from alumni. And I'll tell you, this is, I'm quoting an alumni. This is her words, not mine. She only went through the first 3 modules because that's all she was ready for in year 1, but she immediately started pitching and got licensing contracts. So then she came back in year 2 and she was like, I'm going to pick up where I left off. But she could do that because she had lifetime access to the course. And over the course of a year, she then became ready for those other modules. And I've also had another student say that, honestly, if I only sold the first 4 modules of the course, the 3 or 4 modules, it would pay, like it's worth it just for those modules. And I don't say that to toot my own horn, but to let you know, like, I give a lot in the course, not to overwhelm, but to prepare someone. So feel free to just take the first few modules if that's all you're ready for, and then come back for it when you're ready.
Well, the great thing is you do have a lot of modules, so you cover a lot of stuff, but it's also in small amounts of information because I can't take in that much at a time. Like, I know if I'm in a 8-hour, seminar, my brain shuts off on like hour 3 and I'm done for the rest of the day. So I like that, yours aren't 8 hours at a time, but like you have smaller chunks, and that's easier for me to fit that in to learning on my daily schedule than it is if it's like a big, huge, long thing. Like, you still have a ton of content. It's just broken up into like little bite-sized pieces so that I can take that in better.
Oh, absolutely. No, that totally makes sense. And to your point, we have workbooks that you can either print out, or we have them to where you can fill them out digitally if you don't want to use a lot of paper. And it's workbooks that reinforce everything that we teach in the video modules. And they're broken down the same, just like as the video lessons are broken down, that's how the workbooks are broken down into bite-sized chunks. So it just helps to reinforce what you're learning. We also have audio only versions of all of the modules, so you can listen if you need to. And then we have closed captioning on all the videos too, because accessibility is incredibly important and people learn in different ways. So even though it is a robust course, that's like the word people use, it's robust. It's robust, but I will tell you, it is easy to follow. You're not going to feel overwhelmed. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know about the closed captioning. And so when I hear that, I think, oh, that means I could be in bed next to my husband who's sleeping, and I could have my iPad and be reading the closed captions without disturbing him because I don't have the sound on.
That's actually what a lot of people do. I had someone else say the same thing. They're like, I just lay next to my husband while he's asleep and I watch the modules, and that's totally fine. So yeah. No,
if it's not making noise and I can just read it, that's great. That's great. So, okay, I know you gave a little bit of a hint, but I'm really curious because I'm going to do your mini course, and then I want to retake because I'm super interested in what you have to say about portfolios. Is there anything else that you want to give as any kind of hint of like something new that's coming along that would be like fresh for this year, or like something to entice us?
Okay, I have several new things. So let me just kind of pull up my little laundry list of what's new here, because I have a list. Most of you probably haven't taken the course, but since last year, we've added several things. First of all, I'm sharing how to organize your artwork with SKUs. So what happens a lot is this is the number one question we got last year. It's like, what do I do with all my artwork? How do you keep it organized? I've created a really simple way that you can name and organize your artwork and keep track of it. If that's something that like floats your boat and you're really into it, I'm teaching you how to do it. I'm also teaching people how to do video pitching. Okay, so this might sound scary because, traditionally, whenever we have a portfolio and we're pitching, let's say it's for art licensing, or we have wholesale, we're pitching to stores, we do it with catalogs, portfolios, it's email, right? And a lot of us can't get to trade shows for face-to-face, but honestly, video is the future. We can all be resistant to it, but Instagram's like video, reels. We're not going to teach you how to make reels, but I'm going to teach you how to do a repeatable video pitch whenever you're pitching to an art director to make it personalized and to make you stand out. And I know this works because someone used it on me to pitch something to me. And it was like the only time I said yes to a cold pitch for an opportunity to partner with someone, because they created a custom video pitch for me, and it kind of blew my mind. And I was like, we could do this with art licensing too. It's short, it's sweet, and it's repeatable. And it's not necessarily about having fun on camera. It's another way to communicate who we are and what we do and what we're passionate about as artists. So I'm teaching that. So don't be scared, because I'm going to make it not scary. It doesn't really even involve your face. So keep that in mind. All right. And
that sounds really great. Yeah.
I think it's going to be great. I think video scares people, but I thought we should just see what we can do with it. Most of the old things that we've always done for art licensing for pitching, like that's not going away, but how can we stay fresh? And if an art director is getting a ton of pitches every day, how do we make ours be the one that makes them, think about us? But wonder what that Stacie Bloomfield's up to. I should email her about her latest portfolio, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, another thing that we're offering this year, and I hinted at it already, but we're giving portfolio templates and tear sheet templates, which is just essentially a way that you can easily put your artwork together and get it ready for an art director. And then in terms of, should I give this one away? We'll be announcing, okay, I'll tell you guys. Everybody, by the time the course starts, you will have in your classroom 20 pitch email templates that I'm creating for you, 20, because there's so many different scenarios where you have to answer questions. And a lot of times people need a template to go by. Now, I always advise people to make it their own, but I'm giving you 20 pitch template emails so that you are ready to answer any question and pitch your work like a pro. And the bonus modules. Now, this is on the sales page for Leverage Your Art, but we have storytelling through your collections with Mabel Tan. We have newsletters aren't scary. Jewelry with Julianne Steedman. We have a POD specific, how to choose the POD site for your business with Kathy Weller. Ashley Paggi is talking about brand photography for artists, because, you know, you can make beautiful art, but like a lot of people who stand out on social media, they just know how to present it. And Ashley's really good at this. She's an alumni, and she's replaced her income within a year of taking Leverage Your Art. And so this was a huge key component. We also have Artful Pricing with Shannon McNabb about licensing pricing. I'm trying to think if I missed anything else. Oh yeah, Shopify. So let's say you need to build a website and you want to sell products and you want to do it on Shopify. We have a Shopify for Artists mini module happening that's brand new this year with Shelly Easter of Launch Party. She actually built my own gingiber.com website, rebuilt it this year, and I love the work that she's done. So she's putting together something special just for us.
Great. Shopify is the platform I use for my shop as well. It's great.
Yeah, it is super great. And then, you know, I could go on and on, but we have some incredible guest speakers who are coming this year, people who do different mediums. So like, you and I probably create artwork very differently depending on whatever programs we use. There are fine artists who make art and want to license it and get on product, digital artists, mixed media. So I try really hard to bring in some guest experts who work in different mediums and have different points of view. So we have some incredible guest experts like Kelly Ventura is coming in this year. Who else do I have coming in? Oana Beeford. She is.
I love her work.
I know, and I don't know even if I'm saying her name right. I need to figure that out.
I don't know, but she's an incredible illustrator.
Exquisite watercolor artist, and she does licensed work and product. And then I have Kaylin Chandler from Effie's Paper. She actually licensed with Walmart this year. She's like a small business who licensed with a mass market retailer, and she's coming in to share a little bit about her background. My copyright attorney's coming in. He comes every year. Jennifer Nelson, the art agent, and Kathy Hughes, her partner, a Jennifer Nelson artist, they're coming in to speak. I mean, we have it's an all-star group, y'all, all-star.
Mm-hmm. I think it sounds really great. I'm very, very excited. And I'm very excited about the upcoming mini class. And I know it's supposed to be really robust with a lot of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to the Leverage course, the full course too, because I think there's just so much that I got from the first one. And kind of like you were saying with going back and rewatching it later, there are just some things that you aren't ready for at the time that I feel like, okay, I'm ready for that now. And so I know I have that as a resource. And so I'm just really looking forward to it. I think it's perfect timing. I'm really glad you're doing it in the fall, because like summer, I'm going off and doing some teaching and lecturing and stuff like that. And so I kind of feel like it's going to be the right time when it's fall and I'm back to like sit down and really focus on it. Mm-hmm.
Me too. I've historically done this course in the summer, but I decided to do it in the fall this year so I could spend time with my kids. And I'm certainly glad that I did. And yes, please, the free mini course, it's absolutely free. It's not like a trick to get you to like enter a credit card and pay for something. It's literally a free, beautiful course about creating part-time income as an artist that I hope will help so many people. Most people probably won't sign up for Leverage Your Art because, the free course is so good, y'all. But there are also going to be people who take the free course and they're like, I think Leverage Your Art is the great next step. And honestly, my goal is just to help as many people as possible. And the free course is a great way to do that. So
yeah, I think you do a great job of that, Stacie. I really do. And if anybody, I don't just say this, but it's like, you really are an example of somebody who just does so many things. I stand in awe. And a lot of times I have people that will ask me, oh, can I pick your brain about sort of, how you got into doing the stuff with fabrics and licensing and all of that. There's so much information that goes into that like there's not enough hours in the day for me to do it. So the fact that you have put together all this information in such a cohesive way, I feel really good. Like, to me, you're the person who really like walks the talk. You've really built this business, and I feel like it comes from somebody who's really experienced in like a wide breadth of what they do in terms of like licensing and manufacturing things on your own. What you manufacture on your own is really impressive. And so like you do it. And so I feel really confident in like the example you set. Like, you're it, so I I'm really, really excited about, learning more. And I just wanted you to know, like, I feel like you're that person that I'm in awe at how much I do feel like, I don't know how many hours are in the day, because you do a tremendous amount, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful work. So,
Thank you. Well, that's the kindest thing you could say. I will just tell you that I feel really fortunate. I work really hard, and that whole thing about hiring, that's been key for me to be able to do the things that I love to do. And there may come a time in the future where I choose not to do as many things just because I don't want to, but I want to show people what's possible. And I truly think, like, you don't have to do everything to have a huge business or a business that serves your life, but you can find the things that excite you. And with leverage, at least, my goal is to teach you practical steps so that you can go from where you're at to where you want to go, but also open your eyes to what's possible. I've had students who come in thinking, I'm going to do licensing, I can't wait. They walk away like, I'm going to make product, and that's what they're doing. I have, you don't know what's going to ignite a fire in you sometimes until you learn what's possible. And that's what I want. I want people to know what's possible and to figure out what's going to truly light them up.
Yeah. Well, excellent. Well, I'm super excited.
Thank you
for, spending a little bit of time chatting with me today. Just always so nice to see your smiling face. You're a very uplifting person. I got one last question. Are you going to be at Quilt Market in the fall?
I don't think so. I got tickets the last 2 times, and then I had to cancel it. So I just I think I'll keep it a last minute thing. And if I'm able to come, I will. I don't think my line will be debuting there. I think I'm an off market line, my next one. So it's not like urgent that I'm there, but who knows? I might hop on I have a direct flight to Houston from here. I might hop on a plane and get there because I miss it so much.
Yeah, we miss seeing everybody in person, and this is going to be the first Quilt Market back in person. It might be smaller, because of hesitation still, but I hope you do come for a little visit. I'm going to be there, and I'd love to see you in person.
Oh, I'd love to see everybody. I honestly adore Quilt Market. We're just going to see what happens, and I hope that it just helps all the quilt businesses, the quilt companies, to be able to get back in a groove, because it's so hard whenever the way that you interact with your community is taken away because of COVID. I think our industry needs this. We need this.
Well, and that's why we've really needed to have creative pursuits. People did a lot of sewing and quilting during the pandemic. And I think that there's something about the whole, like, making artwork, making creative products that just, it like nourishes the soul. It's been really important to people. So especially when you can take that thing and also kind of make it into a business, that's a really great thing. So, all right. I know you got to bounce probably, but good talking to you, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.